it was extraordinary, wasn't it, Pauline, to see that Jacinda Nampijinpa-Price wouldn't even express support for her leader today. Doesn't that inflame the situation further?
Well, Chris, I'll put it this way. What support has she got from the leader without really looking at history? And history is repeating itself here, which a lot of people don't realise and understand. In 1997, Barry Jones, then the president of the Labor Party and also who was a former minister under the Labor Party, at the Population Forum said, "We purely brought people in from Greece and China purely for the vote." He admitted that. Labor, prior to the 1996 election, which Howard won, they had a big immigration issue because they were bringing a lot of people from other countries. And the public were actually angry about it, and 70% of Australians didn't want the mass immigration they were having then. Only 3% wanted it. So in a lot of ways, history is repeating itself because they have, and remember, prior to the last election, they processed 700,000 people to get their citizenship just prior to the election. Now, I'm not targeting Indians. I've had Indians stand as candidates of One Nation. They are hard workers, they're business people, and I respect that. But it is true in what she says. Labor have done this for decades to target certain populations to bring them into the country, and of course they're grateful for the opportunity to come to Australia. So whereas their allegiance to them is to the political party that's given the opportunity to come to Australia. Let's have the debate. Don't shut her down. This is what happened to me.
Well, I don't think anyone's trying to shut her down. I mean, I agree with you. I think, A, the immigration levels are too high now, and that's what Jacinda Nampijinpa-Price was saying. Correct. Secondly, I think you find a lot of evidence and data over the years to show that all immigrants, when they come to the country, tend to be Labor voters initially. As they get settled and do better, their voting allegiance spreads more broadly. But Labor gets a boost out of higher rates of immigration. I think that's a political reality. But the question here, and this is the problem, I don't know why the senator doesn't just deal with this and move on. She singled out the Indian community and the higher levels of Indian immigration as being brought in because they're going to vote Labor. Now, I just don't think there's any evidence for that. And I think it's demeaning to the Indian community because most people know, and I've heard it from all sorts of sources, that of course, and I've seen it with my own eyes, Indians are a great cohort of migrants. They're really well-integrated migrants who are doing great things in this country, and they don't want to be slighted either accidentally or deliberately by politicians. So shouldn't Jacinda Nampijinpa-Price clear that up?
I totally agree with you, Chris. And yes, it is, because these people have come here for a new way of life and are integrating, working extremely hard, as I said. But let's move on from there and let's debate about the fact is what's Labor's plans? Are they doing the mass migration purely for the vote? And I have no doubt the Libs have done the same. They've targeted who they wanted to bring in the country. It was evident under the Morrison government, and I know that for a fact. So, you know, both of them are responsible for it. But it comes down to the big argument. Mass migration, the public have had enough of it, and they're sick and tired of the Labor Party bringing them in purely for the vote, plus also they're bringing in purely to bring down, you know, the gross domestic product and for productivity. And that's not the way to run the country.
I think Dick Smith made a really good point on this program this week where he said that each party should have a population plan. They should go to the election with a policy that delivers a population plan for what they think this country will have as a population in 10, 15, 50 years' time. Do you think that that's something we should get from the parties before the next election?
Of course we should. Chris, I put a private member's bill on the floor of Parliament to have a plebiscite for the people of Australia to vote on about a population plan. They're not interested. They voted it down. I think my figures that I've been contemplating is about 35 million by the year 2040. We need to level it out. Our immigration plan is about 130,000 a year. You've got about that many that leave the country. Your deaths and your births are about the same. We need to level it out till we actually get the infrastructure and the services that we need to provide to the Australian people. We're too high at the moment. That's why the cost of living is going through the roof and people are actually struggling.
Thanks for joining us, Pauline. Appreciate it. Pauline Hanson there, forthright as ever.